I thought I knew exactly where I'd retire after studying in Germany, right when the Berlin Wall fell in 1989. I fell in love with Germany's people, scenery, and food. I then worked in Switzerland in 1991, but when I ran the numbers for retiring there in 2026, the winner completely changed. Germany offers structure, affordability, and stability. Switzerland offers beauty, precision, and breathtaking perfection. But only one of these is where I'd choose to spend the final chapter of my life. And only one of these countries is where you might want to spend your retired years. The reasons might surprise you. Welcome back to Retire Without Borders, the channel where I uncover the smartest, safest, and most affordable places in the world for Americans to retire abroad. Today, I'm talking about why Americans like you might want to retire in either Germany or Switzerland. So, let's start in Germany, because that's where I first learned what it means to build a life outside the United States. Back in 1989 and 1990, I was a broke student trying to stretch every last dollar while studying in Tübingen, Germany. Today, I am like you, a retiree trying to stretch every social security check. The numbers have changed since then, but the challenge is exactly the same. How do you live comfortably in Germany without going broke? Let me show you what that really looks like today. Back in the 1990s, a cheap student meal in Germany might cost just a few dollars, and Switzerland already felt painfully expensive. But prices, healthcare systems, and visa rules have all changed since then. So in this video, I'm going to combine those real-life experiences with today's numbers and rules to answer the question, where would I actually retire now? And where should you look to retire between the two countries? Let's begin where reality lives: money. And let's start in Germany, because that's where I first learned what it means to build a life outside the United States. I arrived speaking little German and spent a year navigating the German system. In many regions of Germany, a couple can live comfortably on $2,500 to $3,500 per month, including rent, groceries, healthcare, and public transport. Let me show you what that really looks like today. Cities like Leipzig, Dresden, and smaller towns in Bavaria offer quality living without crushing expense. When I lived in Germany, I lived in a student dorm that cost a few $100s a month and included meals. Even then, housing was the thing everyone complained about. Today, housing is still the #1 factor that will make or break your retirement budget. For a simple one-bedroom apartment in a city, here's what you're realistically looking at right now. In Berlin, around an apartment will run you $1,000 to $1,200 a month. In Frankfurt, maybe $1,100 to $1,300 a month. In Munich, more like $1,500 a month or more. So if you're living on, say, $2,000 a month from Social Security, rent alone could eat up 55 to 75% of your income in the bigger cities. Now, you can absolutely do better in smaller towns or suburbs. Think $800 to $1,000 for a one-bedroom in a less trendy area. But the key point is that Germany's advantage is not necessarily dirt-cheap housing. Germany's advantage is predictable, well-regulated, decent-quality housing where your landlord can't just double your rent overnight. Switzerland tells a slightly different story. A similar lifestyle in Zurich or Geneva may run closer to $6,500 per month, sometimes more. Rent alone can eclipse what you'd pay for your entire lifestyle in parts of Germany. The question isn't, can you afford Switzerland? The question is, can you live freely there without constantly feeling watched by your budget? And that tension quietly shapes every decision that follows. Where Germany really starts to look attractive for retirees is healthcare. When I was there in 1990, I remember being stunned at how organized everything felt. I got sick, I went to see a doctor, I picked up my medicine, and nobody dropped a $2,000 surprise bill on my doorstep. As an American retiree, you're not going to slide into Germany's public system the way a local worker would. You'll usually need private health insurance that satisfies German rules. That might run you somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 to $400 a month, depending on your age, health, and the level of coverage you pick. Is that free? No. You will have to budget some amount. Not like in some countries I've covered. Is it cheaper and less terrifying than the US system? For most people, yes. Visits are reasonably priced. Prescriptions are often a fraction of US costs. And the system is built around preventing big disasters rather than billing you after they happen. So, when you look at Germany, don't just compare rent, look at all costs. Switzerland's healthcare, while exceptional, is fully privatized. Insurance premiums can be high. And yes, even a routine visit can feel expensive. One country gives you safety. The other gives excellence at a price. So which gives better peace of mind for long-term aging? You'll have to compare what your total healthcare risk looks like over a 20 or 30-year retirement. Now, let's talk about the daily life of an American retiree in these countries. Germany feels grounded. There's a noticeable calm to daily life. Parks are filled with walkers. The bakers at the bakery know your name. I love Laugenbrot. Neighborhood cafes where time moves slower than the schedule suggests. Structure exists, but so does warmth. In Germany, life moves at a steady, predictable pace. Stores close early on Saturday, Sundays are quiet, and people genuinely protect their downtime. It's a culture built around structure and balance, where routine gives life a comfortable, almost cozy reliability. You'll feel it in the neighborhood bakeries, the evening walks, and the sense that people aren't constantly rushing from one thing to the next. By comparison, Switzerland feels pristine. Everything runs on near-perfect precision. Cities are spotless. Systems are flawless. Retirees say Switzerland has a more polished, almost hyper-organized rhythm. But that efficiency comes with a slightly faster, more refined tempo. Even leisure here feels elevated. Lakefront strolls, mountain cafes, weekend hikes that look like they were pulled from a postcard. But sometimes, that perfection subtly reminds you, you're just a visitor in something carefully maintained. Germany invites you in. Switzerland impresses you from a distance. And surprisingly, that emotional difference matters more than scenery. Because the ultimate decision isn't about mountains versus medieval towns. It's about where you feel human. And the most revealing factor hasn't even been mentioned yet. Now, Germans can feel reserved and aloof at first. Especially as an American, you will need to work to make friends. But it opens slowly. Neighbors speak. Locals engage. Communities exist around routine and shared space. Once you learn some of the language, become involved in your community, and engage, you will be accepted, not just tolerated. Like I said, this is especially true if you make a strong attempt to learn the local customs and at least High German, if not the local dialect. By comparison, Switzerland is particularly guarded. Remember that Switzerland is actually a confederation, formed centuries ago. The official name is Confederation of Helvetia, refers to the official Latin name for the Swiss Confederation. There are 4 official languages and 4 distinct regions within the country. This name, Confederatio Helvetica, was chosen because Latin is a neutral language for Switzerland's 4 official languages, which are German, French, Italian, and an older language called Romanish. In addition, there are dialects within the various regions. These language divides, regional identity, and cultural formality can make long-term integration feel more distant. You may live beautifully, but not necessarily belong. And retirement isn't just where you live. It's who you become while living there. Key climax. The moment of truth. Here's where the decision becomes clear. Not when comparing scenery. Not when comparing public transport. Not even when comparing cost. It happens when you ask yourself this: where do I feel more at peace emotionally on an everyday level? Where does my life feel sustainable, not impressive? Where do I feel at ease being imperfect? And for me, that answer is unmistakably clear. So, while I love Switzerland and Germany both, I need to make a choice. Switzerland is stunning and incredible. It is also precise and prestigious. But Germany feels livable. It offers space to breathe and be yourself. Space to grow old and to belong without needing perfection. It doesn't demand performance and allows you to breathe. And that, in retirement, is priceless. For me, the choice would be to spend my years in Germany. For you, the choice isn't so clear. It really depends on what you need. So, if you're an American retiree looking at both Germany and Switzerland and thinking, okay, which one is actually right for me? Let's make this really concrete. Choose Germany if you're retiring on a more typical middle-class American budget. If your income is between $2,000 and $3,000 a month, Germany gives you a much better shot at a stable, comfortable life without constantly worrying that one rent increase or insurance bill is going to blow up your finances. Choose Switzerland if your budget is higher and you're looking for quality of life at almost any reasonable price. If you're working with something more like $4,000 a month and up, and you're okay with the fact that groceries, rent, and insurance will all cost more than almost anywhere else in Europe, then Switzerland can absolutely earn its price tag. The best retirement country isn't the most beautiful. It's the one that quietly supports your soul without asking too much in return. Switzerland dazzles. Germany welcomes. And when it's your life you're choosing, welcome matters more than wow. Tell me in the comments, Germany or Switzerland, which one feels like your future? Make sure you like and subscribe to Retire Without Borders if you want clarity, not fantasy, on where your next chapter truly belongs. Don't forget to watch my deep dive into retiring in Germany. The link is on the screen above. Finally, do watch my video on how to protect your identity while traveling.